the first thing the brands will say is, we want to give full freedom to the creator. They can come up with anything they want. And the moment they come up with anything is when the brands start have problems.
I like to play with numbers. So all of the brands or all of my clients I work with are profitable. And whoever I onboard, we have a money back guarantee with them with a specific timeline.
That POC from the agency called me at like 1 a.m. and I received the call and he barged at me like I am someone who did wrong.
Hi everyone, welcome to the MasterCamp Roundtable. Today I'm hosting a very diverse group of people and we'll just start with their introduction.
Hi everybody, I am Ashika. I work as a freelancer with Sahiba Bali and I'm also working full-time with Google in their project management team.
Hi everyone, this is Kanishka Thakur. I founded 2 companies, Iplix Media and CareerWise. I was India's one of youngest career counselor when I graduated and I have 5 degrees.
Hi, I am Priyanshu and I'm working as a senior talent manager I manage creators and influencers like Dharna, Neha Doodles and a lot more. And my major job role is to manage crisis for everybody out there.
Hi, I'm Nandini Suri and I work with Hypp as a creative producer. So I work with them on their branded content, on conceptualizing new characters and IPs for them and helping them with their scripts.
Hi, I'm Shloka and I work with Iplix as a senior PR associate and I help them with PR of their creators and the brand itself.
So guys, let's start it off. What does your typical day look like in the influencer and content world? Priyanshu, we'll start with you.
I mean, it randomly starts with a random call. Hi, iska kya update hai? No context, just an unknown number calling me and then it's a good morning. That means I have to get back to somebody and I have to look at their updates and then it involves a lot of conversations with brands, influencers, the internal team, and then eventually it's 10:30 p.m. and I realize, okay, I have a life, I need to stop working is an ideal day in my life.
Yeah, I think it's quite similar. Totally depends on whether I'm going to the office or I'm working from home. But I would say typically the day starts around like 10:30 in the morning and that's when the brands start getting active. I won't say the creators start getting active then. It's just the brands start getting active then and they'll keep asking you for updates. Iski script kahan hai? Iska concept kahan hai? The script is not working. This concept is not working. So yeah, you have to start giving updates to the brands and eventually as the day progresses is when the creators also start getting active. Then you start getting messages from creators, Nandini एक brainstorm call कर लेते हैं, एक quick discussion कर लेते हैं, मैं एक voice note भेज रही हूँ, can you please create like a concept out of it. So yeah, I think starts around 10:30 and stretches up to I would say 7:38, which is a good day. And then obviously again if you have like impending calls with the creators, as I said, like they are creative people, hence they are literally active towards the later half of the evening. So that's when you start picking up their calls. And apart from this, which is, you know, navigating like a middle ground between your creators and brands, you also have to cater to your office people and, you know, your day-to-day workings in the office also. If I'm working on a campaign pitch, maybe I have to work on a deck for that. So, but yeah, typically I would say starts around 10:30, gets over around 7:38 in the evening. And yeah, as much as I try to keep very healthy boundaries, it's a little tough.
I'm seeing this as a Venn diagram. This is when brands wake up, this is when the creators wake up, and in the middle is Nandini and all of you guys. What about you guys? I would actually like to hear the answer from everyone.
So for me, it's a bit different because I am in the PR part of it. So I don't get to like directly be in touch with a lot of creators and I'm thankful for it, honestly. For me, the managers are there and they are my POCs and I have to talk to journalists and media houses. So for me, the work-life balance is a bit better because journalists usually don't operate after their working hours and they're very specific about it. They don't like to be called after 6 or whatever. So that's pretty much what makes my life a little better than theirs from now that I'm getting to know about it.
So my day would start with if it's a work from home, Sahiba calling me, Shika, I need this. And I'm like, okay, fine, okay, it's 12 already. It's like the days that are not, I would not recommend anybody waking at 12 p.m, okay. One is that. Second, yeah, it would start with her call and then we'll go on to my full-time work as well and then the creator. and it will end at 10:30, 11 if it's a good day. Again, if it's a bad day, it can go up to whatever time. Yeah. So there was this one campaign I did. I won't take the agencies or brand name, but there was this one campaign we did. And the POC from, this is with the Sahiba work that I was doing. So the POC there, we had to put out something. It was a huge campaign. We shot with some really big star. And that POC from the agency called me at like 1 a.m. at the night. I was literally on a call with my boyfriend. And he's like, bro, what is happening?
Who else is calling you?
Who is calling? And I received the call and he barged at me like I am someone who did wrong. So one thing that I'm not appreciative of in the creative industry, especially with creators, is that managers are treated just assistants. You know, while they don't know how much work it goes in from the manager's end to make something happen, from closing your deal to negotiating to then strategizing on the same campaign so that it works well for you. Right? It's a lot of thing that goes from a manager's part. And the people who are not appreciative of it, or who are not, who are just treating us like assistants, is not a right attitude towards managers.
That actually brings me to a question. What do you guys think is the need of influencer managers or talent managers in general? We'll start off with Shloka.
Like rightly mentioned that people need to understand their roles a little better, because right now there's not much understanding of what they do, and a lot of times they are perceived as assistants, and I don't think the person on the other end is also at fault, because that is how they're usually put, and their job roles are also usually like sort of put out in that way. But I feel they need to kind of make sure that they talk about it a little more. Since they work with creators, I think they need to become a little bit more like them and talk about their roles out there, and like on their Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, they need to talk about it a little more, and also create that sort of, sensitivity with the people that they work with. If you're friends with like brand POC, maybe try telling them a little bit more about your role and how it functions. I think that's what managers need to do, but what they really need is, I feel, a little bit more, even though at Iplix at least, we have a lot of transparency with creators, with even our brand POCs, but I feel there needs to be a little bit more of that. And that would help managers at least sort of be more transparent with their creators and tell them that, listen, after this hour, I also need some time to myself, and kind of, you know, so that I can work better for you tomorrow morning. That's why I need to be like by myself after 8 p.m. at least.
The thing is that one thing that I really want to be clear about are my boundaries. I mean, you can, if you're not respecting what I'm doing, I'm fine with it, unless it's put out to me in a better way, because, well, hello, I know what I'm doing. And second, when that person, so I had to put out a message to him formally that I obviously spoke to him because he called me at 1 a.m. It was pretty urgent for him. So I anyway had to speak to him about it. And then in the working hours, I told him, what does a conversation look like? Like I formally drafted a message that I have some boundaries. And while I respect whatever urgency you had at hand that time, but that was not the correct time that I should be. It was the last part where we had to post finally. So the collaboration, shoot, money, everything was done. And it was just the posting part he was worried about.
And as your question was, what somebody needs as a manager, I think it's incredibly important to be communicative, transparent, have a better time management system, and be proactive. Because half the things don't happen if you're not transparently communicating to the other person. In my job role, I also tell to the brand, if some, bhai, मैं जान के थोड़ी ना करूँगा तेरे साथ कुछ गलत. This is the situation, and my talent, I have to take care of the talent, but I have to make sure the brand is friends with me. I clearly tell them that हम आपको इस reason से मना कर रहे हैं. अगर आप ये particular चीज़ इस campaign में करवाओगे, it will not get you views, and then again it will be a bad experience and we won't be able to work well again.
You know, having worked with creators so closely, and it's been almost a year and a half for me working at Hypp, I realized that, you know, as much as I used to think that, you know, oh, it's a great thing to be a jack of all trades, you know, I can be creative also, I can write my scripts also, I can manage my calendars also. But I feel like after a certain point, when your numbers grow, when you have like around 6-7 branded deals coming in a month, you cannot manage everything on your own. And there's no shame in asking for help, and there's no shame in having a team in place who can do things for you, you know. And that's why I feel like, you know, at Hypp also we typically have like 2 teams. There is a set of managers, there's a set of creative producers. So, you know, just to see that there are people who can brainstorm with you on the creative side of things. Then there are like talent managers who can take into account your calendars, who are locking deals for you. So I feel that, you know, after a certain point, and I do feel it's a very healthy practice, as I said, to have a little team for yourself, which can structure your work better, which can streamline your processes better.
I'd like to add one thing, sorry. So a very good, when Saiba was hiring me, her only JD was, I want somebody to say no on my behalf. Because, you know, that's where I want to add. You can say yes to a deal and work it, but the process of rejecting a deal, bro, it's not just no, I can't do it. You have to give like a proper explanation, and there are some agencies who are creator seeking, and they're like, you know, I have thought upon it and I know that you can work for it.
How can you decide what I...
Let me give that let me give that answer for you, you know. Maybe you cannot say my no. I am the ones who has to say my no.
I highly prefer working with agencies who are well rather than direct brands, because they don't know their own boundaries. Agencies are perceived in a very negative way, but their job role is to just streamline and make things happy on the both sides, because you cannot go to a creator and be like, "Aap itne paise kaise मांग रहे हो?" है ना? Because you need to understand how we are quoting and why we are quoting that. And a lot of the old people have a traditional way of marketing, and influencer marketing is very creative.
I'd also like to add one thing, just came to my mind, I would have forgotten it. Along with your question that why do they need managers, they also need some education on the influencer marketing thing. Because we get it, it's just emerging, but there is a lot that needs to be put out, which includes your educating just about the boundaries for starters. That's also very important.
Yeah. So it's not just a one-man show for sure. No. There's a whole village of people that go behind getting an ad campaign out, right?
I want to add something. So, you know, for a lot of creators, now the creators that he named earlier, for them maybe it's like a full-time thing, but for a lot of creators who are emerging, content creation is not a full-time job. So they have a full-time job, and that's the reason they are creative after working hours. So for those kind of creators, the reason why they need managers is because they can't handle 2 full-time jobs. Content creation is not a part-time thing. Let me make that very clear. And the most important thing why you need a manager is just create more employment.
You know, from what I'm hearing from all of your answers is that as an influencer manager, you're protecting both the brand from ruining their own ad campaigns, and you're protecting the influencer from, again, ruining their own content, right? And making sure that there's a balance between the expectations of the brand and what the influencer can deliver and should deliver. So actually, I want to know from all of you guys, negotiating and being at the center of brand and influencer sounds like a really difficult task. How do you guys handle that? Do you have any tips and tricks on how to negotiate if you are ever in this situation?
I would like to say to that, you need to, like what I started doing personally lately, is that when they ask for your media kit or when they ask the creators how much they're charging, the first message that they're sending, I give them a paragraph, which is all of your charges and all, and then a note that these costs are now negotiable, and plus whatever GST would be there. I would respect if we would really want to work with you, but to an extent of negotiating till this percent. That's it. That's the first thing. So you are actually saving yourself from a lot of conversation. Yes. Because again, 15th and 3 you can't do, you know. You have to be a little mindful of what you're quoting also. It's also, I feel at a point, it's so disrespecting to a creator that, you know, this is what, let's just say that Ambani's net worth is some, I don't want to get into numbers and get in trouble, my math is like really bad, but let's just say that they have like some $300 billion ka net worth, okay, maybe more than that, whatever. And then you are saying retrospect uska aap ye bol rahe ho that okay, he's that, but okay, he's that matlab charging that much, but can he do it for 1 lakh? No, he can't. You know, you need to understand that. And I still, like I said, I will say that in every answer of mine, respect is the utmost part of creative marketing, influencer marketing, marketing in general. Let's just put it out there. You know, brands also needs to understand that if they are charging that much and if they're credible enough, of course you must have seen something, because if you have chosen them, so maybe just stick to that, keep your mind open.
A very number level negotiation, but there are other kinds of negotiations also that you do with the brands. And as a creative person, we get to, you know, after the deal is locked, so after their job of like locking the deal, locking the commercials is done, and that's when we get looped in. Other kinds of negotiations are especially pertaining to mandates, you know, like there is XYZ brand, they want XYZ product features to be highlighted through a branded deal. Now, a lot many times as a brand, obviously you would want that I have a product, I want to highlight maximum features of my product in the reel. But what they also do not understand is that branded content is not your traditional advertising. It's not so salesy, it cannot be so salesy, it has to have some story, which is why you are coming to a content creator, right? So, I think those kind of negotiations are also very tough, where you know, my creator, and I know for a fact I do work with a lot of creators who are extremely particular about mandates. You know, I think how, at least in our company, managers take a very preliminary intent on the brief, you know, if creators are interested in doing, taking that deal further. But post that, after, you know, the briefing call is done and it's time for me to debrief the creators, a lot many times creators will straight up say that, hey Nandini, these are like too many call outs for a video, we're not doing it. And as a creative person, I completely understand that, you know, there is no scope for a creator to tell their story. If you are just giving me XYZ product features to name in a 90-second or a 60-second reel, where is the time to tell a story or to build a character? You're coming to a creator, give them that sort of freedom. And it's very funny because every time a brief is given to me, the first thing the brands will say is, we want to give full freedom to the creator. They can come up with anything they want. And the moment they come up with anything is when the brands start have problems.
I want to mention for both their points. So both the things that I do when it comes to negotiating with the brand in terms of money, one thing is that after giving a number, as she said, we mentioned whether it's negotiable or non-negotiable, and if they're negotiating, I ask them, why are you negotiating? Because if we are telling them why are we charging this much, they have to give me an explanation why do they want me to do it at a certain rate. And trust me, when they come up with a proper explanation that, see, this is the reason why we want to do it, in compensation to this is what we are willing to give in return. Maybe extra freedom, or we will not ask you to reshoot this even if we don't like it. And I think that's a fair deal.
That's extremely
so
fair.
When it comes to the creative bit of it, okay, I like to play with numbers. So all of the brands or all of my clients I work with are profitable. And whoever I onboard, we have a money back guarantee with them with a specific timeline. So even when it's a creator who we are working with at a certain this thing, and you know, we're charging them something, or let's say they've gotten back to us with a certain number, we don't give them a guarantee कि आपको कितने views मिलेंगे या आपको कितने conversions मिलेंगे. First of all, we need to understand कौन से type का campaign है. But if it is a conversion campaign and we want to understand what is the result that we are giving to them, we will make sure that we give it. I'll give my own example. When I was at 10,000 followers on Instagram and I did not even have 500 followers on YouTube, there is a very good MBA company, MBA institute, I'm not going to name it because of course we are on mastersunion. They came to me as a career counselor because I had that credibility, and they were like that, Kanishka, we want you to make a YouTube video. And I said, okay, I will charge XYZ amount for it. They said, no problem, we'll pay you 30,000. For one YouTube video, I did not even have 500 followers. And I did not understand. I told them, let me take a step back, let me think and get back to you. Like, why are you paying me 30,000? At that time, I didn't even know my worth and I didn't know why they were paying me for it. And then I sat with that girl. I asked her, like, aap kyun mujhe utna pay kar rahe ho and why do you want me to do this? This is 3 years back, roughly. She explained, देखो हमारा एक बच्चा भी आपके तरफ से आया तो we are earning 2 lakhs and 30,000 is okay for us. I'm like, मैं आपको 2 लाख के दूंगी. And I got them those 2 people, and they've worked with me consecutively for the next 2 years. So I think brands coming back, negotiating all of these things, and till date I've only worked on referrals. So anybody who comes to me or any deal that I do also, they know कि Kanishka कैसे काम करती है. So they don't mess with us only.
I think that's a pretty good point, and again, what she explained is basic communication while you are working with them, and it opens up 3 different areas. For me, a creator who is an extremely established creator, the costs would be negotiable and the percentage would be very low to negotiate. But again, and I would very openly name the creators who are very well in the market, and the comedy segment would be Vishnu, Ankita or Dharna. Everybody now knows what content they create. Brands, if they are selecting them, that means I am assuming that you have gone through their content and you know what to expect. But again, it's my job. Yeah, my job is to ask them, I hope you have gone through the content, and my terms and conditions before locking are extremely a lot. GST, VST separate. Intent on full brief. However, if in between the campaign we feel you are not giving us creative freedom, we won't go ahead with the campaign and you will have to pay us cancellation. So let's make sure everything, because negotiation for me, I lock a deal in 15 days if the brand is doing a lot of back and forth. And as she said that she plays around with numbers. If a brand is asking me to negotiate a little more, my ask would be then give more creative freedom, or give me 100% advance, I'll work on this, because that for me is quick money and 50,000 ka gap, for example. And that is how as a manager I play around with these things.
So have you guys ever worked with a creator, ever been in a situation where an influencer's opinion on social issues has kind of stirred the pot, and how did you guys handle it, the PR side of it?
I think I would say thankfully not yet. I've not had any creator, like personally I've had no such experiences, but if you ask me, I can say I've seen such instances happening where creators go on to talk about something, like when they are doing their sort of their own content, they have very different views about a certain thing, but when it comes to a brand, they will very easily go on to talk about something absolutely contrary to what they were talking about in their content. So that's something that sometimes does get the audience also talking about it. And also I feel a lot of brands are very picky about such creators because they do not want such creators to be on board. Recently, I was just going through my Instagram, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, I saw Tanya, who's a travel creator. So I feel Tanya was doing this cleanup of some ghat in Delhi, and she's sort of partnered with a NGO, which is a great initiative, and I think people are applauding her for that. But also I saw comments calling her out that when you are in cities like Paris or other European cities, you never point that out about that city. Why are you talking about that in our country? We know that it is a problem that needs to be talked about, but you also need to sort of be vocal about other countries and other places as well. You cannot glorify those places and not talk about that. So I feel it's not a PR blunder, honestly, because this is something that's in the comments and not everybody is going to notice that. But I feel creators need to be a little more mindful when it comes to such things, that they need to have a holistic approach. And also while we were talking about a whole team being behind them, so they need to talk to every person in the team and see how it's going to look like when they are putting some content out, and especially a social impact sort of a content. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the only example that I can think of right now.
I'd also like to add one thing quickly, is that as a community online, it's very important for everybody to think that just because it's happening somewhere else, you cannot narrow down the issue that it's right. Just because that they are doing it, it's not right, and we are not doing it, it's not wrong. If we are cleaning India, that's good. We can't go and clean Paris, bro.
There are creators who are very openly promoting alcoholism, cigarettes, or even drugs. That is where brands will not want to associate with you, because when brand is looking at your profile, they're also looking at what the kind of things you do, and that is a huge difference in positioning. There are people who are particularly not adding any value and just using cuss words on their content because it's easy to, you know, mock a girl in a certain position, like, you know, content pieces which are like that one girl during Diwali is a very generic term. But if you are taking a diya and doing this to mock her, is not the kind of content brands will want to associate you for. Because if I have to think from the brand's perspective, if they want to promote sunscreen, why would they want to associate their product with a girl who everybody is laughing at? So your content needs to be put across in a way that it is also helping out the environment or the society in a large, but you need to be sure what value addition you are giving through the content in terms of what you are putting on social media. And a lot of creators do put across their experiences with brands and how they are using it, but again it depends on creator to creator. Neha Doodles is an incredible creator in those terms when even if she purchases a product and if she likes it, she goes way forward to tag that brand in the story, which eventually has led to incredible association with those people, because brand के दिमाग में नहीं था कि I can reach out to her, but her one step, you know, created a ripple effect on doing something that is much more bigger than just a content piece or something that is adding value to the portfolio of the brand and the creator as well.
You manage Ritvi, and I remember, I've seen her do these small business Saturdays where whatever product small businesses send her, she will go out and put a story for them without any cost just to promote them. So I think it's very important for influencers also to take their own position. It's not just about you having a business at the end of the day. Like you said, it's a personal page as well.
Yeah, I think also creators have become increasingly wary and conscious of what they are going to post, because as he said, you have to understand what are the consequences going to be like, right? Like if a creator has 1 million followers, there is no way you are going to keep everybody happy. Someone or the other is going to get offended with what you are posting. But they also have to look at their own vested interest, right? They want branded deals and they want to play it safe. They don't want to put something so controversial. And as much as I like to believe that yes, you know, it is a platform which should be used in the best way possible, and that creators are in a position where they can voice their opinion, and they must. But you also, as I said, like it's the same thing with Bollywood celebrities, right? Like they are also very wary of like what the consequences could be like. So again, it's the same thing with creators or anybody for that matter who is in a, you know, a public speaking at a public fora, would want to be a little careful with what they are saying. It's just how times have become now. You know, it's a very volatile environment. You just don't know who will get offended with what.
The creators, there are brands who eventually would not want to come to you, and I'm taking the side of the creators in this element. I have spoken with creators who are from the LGBTQIA community, and once they came out of the closet, a lot of brands started not associating with them. Is one of the things that has directly affected their regular bread and butter. However, they are as a part of the community just celebrating who they are, and it is a thing that goes both ways. But again, there are brands who are connected with maybe some larger organizations who are not a part of the support that these creators needs, is also that comes into the picture. So there is a downside to it.
Do you think long form content or short form content is here to stay? We'll start with Kanishka.
When I talk from the perspective that me being a creator, the reason I couldn't be a creator because I don't relate to short form content. And I don't know why I can't do that. I mean, I can do it, yeah, and I can do it for others. I have clients who I'm like so in awe of that I go travel all the way as a founder myself to go and record content for them because they're so good with short form content. And when you ask me whether long form content is there to stay, I mean, I relate to long form content so much. I mean, if you ask me to talk, I can keep on talking, I can entertain people, and I'm sure they will watch it. And I know that vlogs are, you know, making people laugh and making people talk, making that long form content is for me. But that FOMO of, but what if I miss out on that short form content? Like what is going to stay? Like what should I focus on? So I don't think we know what's going to be there in the long term. I mean, of course, you all are the
I'll
ones to
tell you,
answer.
my LinkedIn bio says, my LinkedIn about says that the attention span of this generation is just 3 seconds. So we might have to kill somebody at the starting of a reel. It's like, you know, on a larger scale, when you're questioning if long form is what is going to stay or short form, it genuinely just depends on the statistics and demographics of a country. For now, all I can see and hear is Gen Zs. And of course, like the 3-second attention span that Gen Zs have is, everybody knows about it, yeah. So for them, short form content is the way to go. But when we're talking about millennials again, they would want to go and watch the review on YouTube, right? So it depends on the demographics and it's very subjective to the audience they are targeting. I mean, on a larger scale, of course, I do agree. Even in a category, there are different people. There would be Gen Zs who would want to watch long form, who would not. There would be who would not. But again, it's more, if not demographics, it would be mostly about the platform then. You cannot, I don't think on Instagram, your 2-minute reel is going to work out as much as your 4 to 5 second reel is going to work out.
I'll give you a very simple example. Everybody knows who Ori is. Ori's content has been going viral here and there, and he was the talk amongst everybody. But as soon as he uploaded his first YouTube video, it did not work. Half the people don't know it. That is the thing with virality. And there are very few creators who have gotten it all because their short form content is working as well, but they're posting regularly on the long format. And for the larger perspective as a manager, I would want my creator to have that community because that will stay with you for the longer run. No matter if you have 3 million followers, but if a creator having 350k followers, but their community is as strong since day one till now, is more credible than you. And that is why it's important to build that relationship and build that community, because what's the point of those numbers if they are not sticking to you with the long run, which is the long form content.
Long form is actually a great means to assess that. You know, short form, as he said, you have quick topics, quick script, you scribbled it down, you get that instant fame and instant gratification. But to be able to sustain it for a longer period, you need to sort of showcase your versatility. And Kusha is a great example. I work with a creator called Raj Grover. I feel he's also doing a perfect mix of like Instagram videos also, long form videos also, and also juggling. He's in 12th standard, by the way. He's also juggling his with his 12th boards right now. So yeah, I feel like as much as we feel right now that, you know, Gen Z, their attention spans are dropping and that they need instant gratification, which is also true, but a good means to assess whether you will be able to last longer is actually long form.
Moving beyond just the format of content that's going to work in the future, let's talk about the future of influencer marketing in general. What are your predictions on what's going to change the game?
Logan Paul as an influencer got that virality, but eventually to convert that, he started a business. It's becoming creatorpreneurs in the longer run, because that is how you will stay relevant for so long. If you are advertising other brands, that means a lot of brands are depending on you for their sales. So why not start something of your own and then take it up? And that is where I think Tech Burner from who we work closely with has created a very successful example with Les, where they are working on phone skins, laptop covers and everything to show the kind of impact that he has created. Again, as I said, the shelf life is very small, but how you make a difference is through the long form content. And I feel very few creators have been able to make that mark. And for tomorrow, I would expect Komal Pandey to create a fashion business, because why to promote anything else when you can be your own boss, right?
So again, it comes down to the community that they have built. It would be like, what is the impact of influencer marketing? Also, I'd like to mention one thing. When we're talking about a future of influencer marketing, it would be extremely influencer centric and not brand centric. It's just my prediction, because I have seen influencers educating themselves about the brand deals that they want. There would be a lot of no's on the table which the industry need. You know, that is the need right now, and eventually they'll make a brand out of themselves. If not a brand like I'm talking metaphorically, like they'll eventually make a brand out of themselves, and that is what the future should look like.
I think diversification is the name of the game. Like, you can't just restrict yourself to just making Instagram reels. Like Vishnu, for example, runs his own brand also, Peach by Vishnu. Also simultaneously, he has a few acting gigs also. He just recently acted in Donkey. So I feel, I think diversification, you have to think big. You can't just have a very myopic vision that array 2-3 topics hai, is pe I have these characters, iske saath I'll start making Instagram reels and I'll become famous, which, as he had mentioned previously, would be a very great way to get you viral. But whether or not it will help you last longer, that's something I don't think. I feel like you have to constantly diversify, and also diversify platforms. A lot of creators sometimes just stick to Instagram, but they need to understand that, diversifying, getting onto YouTube also, and even like and each platform deserves a very different kind of content. Whatever you're posting on Instagram is not going to work on YouTube also. So you have to think in multiple directions, think in through multiple platforms, and think about donning multiple hats, I would say.
Just add one thing more. When she's talking about diversification, it's a very good point. You also mentioned that they should diversify themselves basis the platforms. I think they should be diversifying their content pieces as well. If you all know, there's one page on Instagram called Diet Sabhya, who is like the OG fashion page, and that's my favorite page on Instagram. They're literally giving coupon codes on their broadcast channel, and it's working so well for them. Maybe diversify what you're even putting on your broadcast channel. That's a different way altogether.
That's the point exactly I was going to make, that like just not platforms, but it's very important for creators going forward to know how to kind of use their content in different ways to be relevant, and also to make brands to also make a note of that. Like if broadcast channels is working for some creator, then why not utilize that? Because that is going to be something that they'll be able to sort of utilize the best. Like there are many creators, Neha even for that matter, Neha Doodles is very active on her broadcast channel, and she like has a very strong community there as well. Sakshi, a lot of these creators are very active on their broadcast channel, and I think people enjoy it so much more than their like reels or stories. And even stories are a great way to sort of stay in touch like every single day with your audience. And I feel community is one thing that's here to stay for sure, and brands also need to sort of be very mindful of which creators are they picking in the future. The creators who have a community, strong communities, are the ones who are going to get you everything. Even if it's ROI or awareness, anything that you need, it's only the creators who have a strong community. Creators who are viral for a little while, nobody's listening to them. Let's be honest, we all just are there for their scripts, not for them. We like what they see, like what they make for 1 or 2 reels, and we share it with our friends, but we do not trust them.
And a fun fact is that they know that they're not here to stay. For example, there was this one episode in Coffee with Karan, where Ori and all came, and he said, I'm also planning my downfall now. So they know that they're not going to stay for the virality that they need to build something more stronger than that.
That's the base difference. Like why will a celebrity like Varun Dhawan have a lot of views when he's not even a content creator? Because they want to know what you are doing now. And that is, I think, a slight difference to what a lot of creators have achieved now. And again, it's also important for the creator, while associating with brands, to make sure that they are working with the right brands. You can't work with a skincare brand one day and day after tomorrow another skincare brand. You are just losing out on the credibility, and even the brand who has worked with you previously will not come to you again saying, yeah, you have gone with a competitive brand just in a short span. So that also makes a difference.
So I have a take on what is the future of influencer marketing. As you all correctly said, that there are a lot of creators, they've made their own brands, and eventually they have to become creatorpreneurs. And we've clearly seen how Niche Hair has promoted her brand and made things. I personally feel moving forward, of course, influencer marketing is there to stay. It's not like it's ever going to go away. But what's going to happen is eventually all of these big influencers have these big brands, and small influencers are promoting these big brands. So it's like brands are being made from influencers, more influencers are bringing more business to influencer marketing, and eventually every creator is collaborating with each other, every influencer is collaborating with each other for their own brands. And did you not, I'm sure this is going to happen because in my own little multiverse, which I try to do. So y'all talk about big creators, but I do have creators which have like 33k followers and have beautiful saris from Andhra, and they're promoting handicrafts, handloom, all of this, like rural artisans actually making things with their own hands. We make sure that we get them on Kala Ghoda, we make sure that we get them on like real good places, make money, we pay the influencers, smaller influencers to promote, who actually bring them business on a smaller scale. This is what we are doing, and I'm 200% sure that in the next coming years this is what's going to happen, and influencer marketing is going to be such a big thing in its own way. And I'm telling you, it's going to be such a happy thing if people actually collaborate in the right ways. And most importantly, when this happens, people will have their own managers, they'll have their in-house team, and that is what we are also working towards. It's such a happy thing when you see that creator from scratch growing to a point where they have their own in-house team now, and all of these multiple big creators are having their own in-house teams, which are now making their own media agencies to again give those managers to smaller brands. And see, we have learned it through experience. We've learned it, our founders, or I mean, I'm the founder of my own company, but yeah, founders, they learned it through experience by just managing a couple of creators. But understand the fact that a creator whose team is managing another creator, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a really happy thing that's going to happen.
So, you know, we've talked about the future of the formats of content, we've talked about the future of influencer marketing in general. I think what I want to really know from all of you, because all of you have such diverse roles, how do you see your individual roles panning out in the future?
Yeah, so I'll take this up first. I think even like 1.5 years ago, if you were to tell somebody that you're doing PR for creators, that was not a role that people would usually think of, that's a proper role. That's usually something that they can take care of themselves or their managers can take care of. And usually creators are seen as PR tools by brands majorly. But I feel as we grow and as we are going to be, like influencers are going to be more relevant, they will be needing PR more and more, because to stay relevant and to stay relevant for the right things, let's say, they will need a team to kind of tell them what's the sort of, you know, the noise around and what are people talking about. And I think PR is not just about like obviously media relations, but it's also about like just gauging the the audience nerves and telling them that this is what people are talking about you, or even your genre for that matter, if like comedy creators for that matter, if they're not like making the kind of content that's actually being appreciated, I think that sort of roles are going to be more and more relevant, because like we just spoke about in the entire conversation, how busy talent managers and creators both are. So I think somebody needs to sort of keep an eye on these things and tell them what's right and what's not like going right in for them. So I think for me, PR is going to be more and more relevant for creators, and it's going to be a more defined role in the future. I think right now it's not as defined as it should be. But yeah, I think it's going to be more defined. So yeah, that's my take on this.
Yeah, so I was saying that in my phone, I have like a lot of ideas that I keep penning down. So whether it is a short film idea or like short story ideas or even shows for that matter, and take up a more creative role, which is to sort of, start thinking on the lines of directing shows and directing, podcasts maybe, or other couple of ideas that I do have, which we keep discussing with the creators. And we started I have started writing also a few shows. So the idea is to work on bigger projects, on bigger IPs for creators, create new characters with them. It's actually a lot of fun, you brainstorm with them, and hopefully I will be able to direct more shows. As I said, I already recently directed one, and I would want to direct a few more shows and conceptualize more things for and with the creators.
I want to get into brands more. I want to get into managing a brand, and then eventually I love marketing actually in general. So that is what I want to do, and I hope that my future holds me being a CMO at some bigger company, maybe Google.
I think understanding just from the sake of influencer marketing, initially I was a person who used to consume a lot of content. So for me, that is where it gave me an initial push, because I knew that I can't make content, but I have been seeing creators doing incredible things is something I wanted to enable for them, because that little gratitude at the end of the day really makes a difference to your life and you are doing something well. However, as my role has expanded, I could see that you are helping out people who just don't have a direction. The world will never be out of talent managers, because at the end of the day, everybody is an artist, from Bollywood to singing, and even entrepreneurs these days needs artists to manage them, or again work for the PR, for the social media. So management again is that basic skill that needs a couple of hard and soft skills that you need to be efficient in, and you can make things work. Because before a talent management, I was into production designing, and so I didn't know how to do videography, I didn't know how to write scripts, but my presence was needed on stage to manage everything is the core of what my job role would be, or any manager's job role would be.
So you can always go ahead and take up any management role in a creative space.
Exactly, in a creative space. Matlab, I also feel like I might even go to a brand and be a manager, because I know what
Absolutely.
what
Brand
the brand
even
wants.
prefer getting talent managers from agency. That's so true. Also, you know, crux is if there is a class, they need a teacher, and if there is this industry, they would need managers.
Thanks everyone for joining us here today. It was a very eye-opening conversation, I would say. But yeah, thank you so much for coming here. I hope your experience was great.